911 location of your emergency.
Breaking news out of North Idaho. Moscow police are investigating a homicide on King Road.
Is she breathing?
No.
So 5'10", all black. Could you see what color his eyebrows were or anything like that?
No, I don't remember what his eyes look like either.
Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, but no weapon been located at the time.
Arrested. That's 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger in custody today.
Mr. Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Everything is budget. Well, hello. How is everyone doing? As you probably just saw as soon as that ended, and if you are subscribed to Connor's channel, you've probably noticed, there was an interview posted tonight from Ava Woods. This is not the third time, I guess, we've heard from Ava. She did an interview with the Vicky lady who helped James Patterson write the Idaho book that was affiliated with the Amazon series last summer. And we have a piece of an interview that she did with the Moscow Police Department the day of the crime. She happened to live in the neighborhood, was over at the scene with blankets when everyone started to be dispersed over to the Moscow Police Department and over to the Student Center. So she ended up going in and doing an interview. And now we have another one. It seems like she was actually spoken to the day before, according to the way the wording is with these officers speaking to her. And it also seems like Kaylee was very selective over who she gave information to about her life. Ava has no idea about Mason Barstow or anyone else that Kaylee was seeing. Either that or she's lying to the police. She seems like a real goody two-shoe type, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but she just seems like someone who probably isn't going to lie to the cops. Or at least she portrays herself as someone who isn't going to lie to the cops. So it's just interesting the way that her perception of Kaylee and Kaylee's life and Kaylee and Jack is so much more like the way that the Goncalveses saw it, which is the complete opposite of what literally everyone else was telling us and what we have physical evidence of. So that's interesting. I find that pretty interesting. Okay, so I did not receive anything from Ada County from the FOIA request for the motion for the transcripts that came out today. So we probably won't get anything until hopefully Monday. Oh, shit. Eek. Something was just caught on my camera. Why is this right here? Again. Okay. So, yeah, it probably won't be till like Monday, which is fine because we have a lot of stuff that we need to catch up on. A lot. So, I figure the way that we're going to try to do this now, again, this is just like everything else when it comes to mainstream. I cannot show it on the screen, okay? They will shut my shit down. They've already, and they being Netflix, has come in and tried to take the monetization for my entire 4+ hour live we did one night when we were simply going over the trailer that they had here on YouTube. So we reviewed it the same way that we review everything else that is placed on the platform, and somehow YouTube allowed them to play games. So I'm going to end up taking that out and posting it by itself separately and then fighting it just so that it can be out there with a notice showing like this is what Netflix is doing, because anytime they do anything pathetic, they need to be called out on their bullshit. Okay. It doesn't even really matter. It just needs to happen. So I'm going to end up posting it out separately, but it's weird for me to just be sitting here with like nothing else on the screen while I'm talking about what the frick I'm looking at, because people that come in here don't know what the hell is happening. So I figured I could have it here like this and no sound, to where at least there's something like on the screen, and I'll have a little banner at the bottom that says something about it not being able to be on the screen or something like that, or I'll put it like in the banner itself, just so that it seems, more obvious that I'm reacting to something, able to play on screen. Okay. Okay, so again, this is on the ID channel. It went live on cable TV last night, and you can watch it on HBO Now, I think it's called. Is it called HBO Now? HBO Max. You can get their like little separate thing or whatever to watch this yourself. Just like everything else, if you have to make a throwaway email and get a free trial every single freaking time one of these comes on to pay $0, then take the time to do so. It takes 30 seconds. So don't pay for none of this crap. Just sign up for a free trial and watch it, and then delete the shit as soon as that's done, because it's not worth keeping all the, whatever. It's just my opinion. So we're going to go ahead and watch this. Oh my God. It's probably going to suck. I haven't heard anything good about it at all. People are honestly still talking about the Netflix series. I have barely seen anybody at all talking about this one whatsoever. It really tells you the audience that Netflix reaches more than what ID Channel or HBO Max reaches. And it definitely seems like ID Channel, because it's more on cable TV than anything else, doesn't really reach a social media wave of people the way that Netflix does. It's interesting that how each app has their own dynamic and their own type that's so different from other things like social media platforms, Facebook to Twitter, X, two completely different types of personalities. It's very strange. It's super very strange. Okay. I'm going to press play. I'm scared. I'm so tired of these people. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Play. Jeanette Levy's voice wants to. So they like hurried up with a quickness and got this out, because instantly Jeanette Levy's voice comes out. He wants to take back his guilty plea and go to trial. So they like probably already had something in the works, and then we're going to wait and decided to clip their stuff down and get it out faster so that they were on top of the newest information. I bet you that's what they did. So then it showed a couple pieces from the scene, Dylan, some pieces from the 11/16 press conference, fake pictures of the knife sheath, because they need to do that instead of using the real ones. They're showing crime scene photos from the ISP releases, but when it came to the knife sheath, they had a completely fake and staged photograph, dark, different positioning. Like you could just tell that it was created just for this instead of using the real one, which is kind of stupid. So they have. Why are we having Jesse Mysterious and Toyota Weber on here? Are we serious? Oh my God. Celebrate. Oh, now they're showing a freaking knife with a black blade, which, by the way, in case you missed it, Bronx Tales True Crime did a FOIA for the duplicate order that they did from what they claimed to be Kohberger's account. And they did the supplements and like a couple other things too. It wasn't just the knife sheath and stuff like that. And the blade of his is dark black and doesn't have little serrations on the tip of it. And I have to go back and check like all the examples that they've ever shown us. But when they've described this to us before, it's been a silver blade with like small serrations. Is how I've always remembered seeing it. So them ordering a mock one and it being a black blade was odd to me. And they still haven't given us the original stuff. Okay, that was just like an intro thing. Now we're getting to the actual show. But it's interesting because that's different. We're going to have to look into it a little bit more. Y'all can't hear it, right? Like it didn't have the sound come through. I need to make sure. Okay, so it's showing it's showing like pieces of a football game, but that doesn't mean it's the football game. Okay, so this is Caitlin Becker, host of the New York Post or something like that. Like I've seen her face maybe once, but I don't really like recognize her. Okay, November 13th, 2022, 11:58 a.m. So it's like some drone footage of the house with the crime scene tape already over it. Cars are already. This is like older footage. Oh my God, these idiots have it saying that Dylan is the one on the phone making the 911 call. And it has Dylan's name. And then it has Josie coming on, which is correct. That's Bethany. Why did they keep doing that? You know why? Because broken police freaking bullshit that Christopher Whitcomb put on it has Dylan being the freaking person in the very beginning of the book before he even corrects it. He puts it in there incorrect, and they just ran with that saying that it's Dylan. Now they have Dylan saying pretty much at 4 a.m., which is correct. But Dylan is not the person who made the freaking call. It's Bethany's voice on the phone call first. How many times are they going to do that? This is like the third or fourth one they've done that wrong, and this is so dumb. That's not what's wrong, and it's showing the aftermath of the room of Xana's after stuff has been moved out, and there's a bunch of amido black powdery stuff everywhere outside the house. Definitely all photos that we've seen before. Now, people that are seeing this, these are going to be shocking to a lot of people because they're not out here and they're not on the websites to pull the photos, and they don't know that we've seen these now for months and months and months and months and months. They don't know that we've had those January 20th photos since January 20th and have had access to them the entire time. A lot of this is shocking for a lot of people. A lot of people. Okay, so here's Noons getting there, walking up with the defibrillator. They're showing the whole part. They showed that there was a knife on the floor, but no one pointed it out. When is someone going to finally point out that the knife is on the ground? A knife is on the ground. Check to see if she was breathing. I don't know if you were breathing. Here comes Jesse Weber. Again, when Jesse Weber did an interview about this case, he said twice in the interview that the car was a Toyota. He doesn't care enough to even remember. So some more pictures of Xana's room, talking about finding Xana and then walking over and seeing Ethan, saying that it looked like it was short course injuries, going back to Noon's camera, walking back. Now here comes Eric Warner coming up the stairs, being told to slow down by Noons. This is switching back and forth between Noons and Warner. Here's Warner having Hunter go downstairs. I sure hope that they paid their duplication fees for this footage and didn't just recorded off the Connor channel. I can't even believe the bullshit, especially since even with this one, if you read the details on it, it talks about like never before seen footage. Like it better have something in here that I had never seen before because man, I'm tired of being lied to. Okay, so here goes Warner coming back up first to go up to the third floor, announcing themselves up. You can't hear any sound. I cannot allow any sound or any video or anything on there. It should only just be me talking that you hear. It's me that's muffled. Y'all can't hear me. See, every single time it's a mainstream thing like this. Okay, what about now? Tell me if it sounds better now. Every time I do one of these mainstream ones, it acts up. Every single time. Okay, so it's better now? Okay. I'm going to try to do this again. I just remember I did this with the Netflix one. Every time it started over and we came back from intermission, it acted crazy. Okay. Okay, it's good to go. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go back just a few seconds. So basically it's at the point now where they have Hunter going outside and they're about to go up to the 3rd floor. And hopefully it doesn't do it anymore. See, it does it every time there's a mainstream thing that I'm looking at. Yeah, this is them going up to the 3rd floor. They're still walking up to the 3rd floor. Okay, now here it is where they're seeing the girls. So it's fine until I hit play. Okay, then I'm going to unshare the screen. I'm going to unshare the screen. And I'm going to play it without it being shared and see if it'll stop doing it. All right, tell me if it's any different now that it's playing. It does this every time I do something mainstream. It's like it has something in the programming. Okay, so this is where they see to Murphy. And they're taking Murphy downstairs. And now they're saying, okay, time for names and crime scene log. Yeah, they're showing Murphy. Gunderson has Murphy outside. Listening to John Lawrence make a call telling people to get to town. There's a homicide. Okay, now here comes Chapin and Dylan first. So it's that part where she's talking about what she saw. Now here's them telling each other about it at 12:47, where they're saying it to Gunderson and the Lawrence guy. Okay, now it's just showing footage of the house. There's so much blood, it's seeping out of the foundation. Press conference. We know that these homicides occurred in the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th. This is the 11:16 presser. I'm about to be reposting these two on the archive channel, all the pressers. They have Dylan and Bethany's faces freaking blurred in the big infamous photo. How insane. Yeah, the 11:16 presser. Xana was the first one found. Being described like pure sunshine by her friends, which is true. They're playing her marketing major video where she's introducing herself. This is King Street. I don't know that video. Lots of pictures of Xana talking about the sorority, kind of music that she liked. Here she was. Here comes Ethan. Jesse Weber's talking about Ethan. Talking about him being a part of Sigma Chi. A guy named Jordan Smith, that's a journalist, is talking about it. And the fact that Ethan was a triplet. So they're showing pieces of the interview where she mentions the 2 a.m. dark hour. But not that part of it, just that interview. So stuff from that far back. Always described as having a smile on his face and having pieces from the memorial at the church where there was a letter being read about Xana and Ethan. They're showing a bunch of pictures of them. Then they're talking about Kaylee and Maddie and showing a bunch of pictures. Talking about how they've been friends in 6th grade. I think this is Steve at the memorial. Not the church memorial. There was one at the school. See, Kaylee had already moved out. No, she did not. She did not already move out. That is a lie. Oh, I'm going to pause this as a matter of fact. Ava Woods in the interview said today something that I heard. Actually, somebody made a comment about earlier today, way before the interview came out, which was interesting. Somebody, backtrack. What she said was that Christy wouldn't let Kaylee come back home because her dog was too hyper. Remember how we were questioning why the Goncalveses didn't take Murphy? If Kaylee had told Ava Woods that Christy wouldn't let her come back home for any reason because Murphy was too hyper, that says a lot. And also, like, goes back to why they keep acting like she was there right before she went back to Moscow when everyone else is like, no, she was with her aunt. And apparently she had Murphy with her. But so she was telling people that her parents wouldn't let her move back home or go back home because Murphy was too hyper and they didn't like the way that the dog acted, basically. So if that's true, which seems to be true, it explains why they didn't take Murphy. Remember, we were questioning that. Why wouldn't you not want the dog? You know, Jack did not want Murphy. We hear him in the interview saying he told her no, he didn't want the dog. Why would you not take your daughter's dog? Why would you not take the thing that she treated like a child? Why would you not take the thing that she loved? Now we know why. He was too hyper. They didn't want him around. He was too hyper. All right, I'm pressing play. But then again, they're lying over here, still saying Kaylee had moved out and only went back to show Maddie her new car, which was the lie that we were told. It's so crazy, the freaking lies that we were told. I hate this so much. All right, going back to the house, talking about Maddie, Xana, Dylan, and Bethany are the only ones that live in the house, saying that Kaylee was just visiting for the night. That is not true. I really wish sometimes these documentaries were a person. Then I would just flip shit. This is ridiculous. I cannot believe they're still telling this bullshit all this time later. This is ridiculous. So random videos of stuff that they were doing, just being funny. Videos and pictures at parties, just them playing around. Yeah, I don't know why they keep saying. I don't know why they keep saying that Xana and Ethan. I mean, that Ethan and Kaylee were just visiting that night. That's a lie. Technically, Ethan was living there. He never was at his own apartment. Right? We're at a. I thought this had 3 minutes of ads. I was like, holy shit. No, it's 3 ads. I guess I don't know how long they are. Yeah, I guess that's what she told Ava, was that her parents didn't want her to go back home because Murphy was too hyper. So that's interesting. Yeah, it is interesting telling all these documentaries, especially since at the very beginning of this one, it literally is Anthony Levy's voice saying that now he wants to take back the plea. So I'm like, okay, so did they already have this ready to go for now, and they just slipped that in there and made a couple changes? Or is this something that they had in play and weren't ready? And when this new news broke out, they were like, oh shit, we got to jump on the trend. And they made a couple of changes and just prematurely put it out. I don't trust any of it. I don't trust any of it. I think it's all bullshit. We're still on that. I think we're at the end of And the audio is in and out again. I wonder what is happening. All right, let me pause this. Hold on. Well, it shouldn't be doing any of those things. I don't know. I don't understand what is going on with the damn microphone tonight. It's causing me all kinds of issues. Okay. I'm about to throw a fit. I know. I'm about to throw a fit. I'm about to throw this microphone and buy a new one. I don't understand what's going on. This is a newer microphone. Maybe something happened with the cats. Maybe they did something. I don't know. I'll try to figure all this out later. Anyway, Anjanette Levy just said, I've walked around that house on my trips to Moscow. Does that mean she physically walked around that house? Or does that mean she walked around that house? Perimeter? Or inside? To me, I'd think, because she's talking about the carnage of the house, someone let Anjanette Levy walk around the crime scene? That's how I'm hearing that. I would hope it's around the outside. But then she's talking about the carnage of the house while describing walking around the house. So that's weird. I would hope not inside the house. So I've turned it back. She's gonna say, I walked around that house on King Road many times on my trips to Moscow. I think just the absolute carnage is so unbelievable. And then it jumps to her talking to Body Bags guy about the autopsy reports. That's a weird way for her to put that. It definitely, to me, insinuates she was inside the house, the way that it's put. Yeah, it's her and Joe Scott Morgan talking about the body bag stuff, the autopsy stuff. Back to November 16th press conference. No suspect, yeah. We can't say there's no threat. And as we've stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times. Amanda Rowley, reporter for Crim 2 News, asking about forced entry. No sign or any of the entries left unlocked. We're not 100% sure if it was unlocked. There was no damage, and the door was still open when we got there. The backslider. So here, Stillin and Mowry, we're pretty good at locking it. I don't think we locked it last night. Now remember, Hunter said he had to open the door with the code. We know that there's a guy that said he saw the front door open. That interview is also out. We see him walking his dog on our camera footage from the 1112 camera that we got. We see him walking his dog and then coming back. But we also know that when the cops got there, the slider was open and the balcony was open. They're talking about how it's darker in the back and there's a parking area back there. known party house. August 16th, 2022, 89 days before. Oh gosh. It's the noise complaint where Hunter Johnson, Mr. I don't really know Kaylee, walks out with Kaylee. And they both have zip ties on. Or at least he does. He has zip ties on because they're playing shackles and zip ties, or champagne and shackles. And then here comes the footage from September 1st that looks like Emma Bailey's walking across their parking lot. And this is where Hunter Johnson again is there. And Maddie Mogen is called on his phone, and his phone is given to the cop, and the cop talks to Maddie Mogen on Hunter's phone. And you can see Maddie's name on the phone when the cop's talking to her on the body cam. And then the second time, same night, noise complaint, but it's right after midnight. And this is where Xana is talking to the cops. This is with Payne. I think this is the one with Payne. Oh, it's a house a lot of people had access to even when the girls weren't home. That's not false. A lot of people knew how to get in and out of that house. Front door code conversations. Bethany saying she only felt like 3 people. And then everyone was like, yeah, that's such a crappy looking door. They didn't change it from the year before. So it's been the same the whole time, yeah. So they're showing the picture of everyone at the party. Everyone's just at the party hanging out. They still have Dylan and Bethany's blurred. And then everyone kind of splits off after that. They don't talk about everybody going back and taking a nap. It's cutting in and out again. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me completely remove the screen share from it instead of just not showing it. And we'll try it this way now. Okay, we'll try it like this now. So it's showing Bethany's interview with Blaker on the 13th. Maddie walking over to Sigma Chi with Bethany and the freshman. Because remember, Ethan and Xana walked over after. And then Maddie left the party and walked back over to the house with some White Claws when she went to go and meet up with Kaylee to go to the club. Bethany is talking about a 12-pack of High Noons plus mimosas, but they're not showing alcohol content for Dylan. Is it because they know that she's actually sober and so they're not going to show any of that? Let's see if they play anything because we know now that she was not drinking. They've only done Bethany so far. Okay, so it's the barely anything about the corner club. Now they're showing Grub Truck, Twitch video. Take a private car service and by 2 a.m. then home. Dylan got to your room maybe somewhere around 4:20-ish, but Dylan was already home at that point. What? That's what Blaker just said. Like I just read it. You knew that Maddie and Kaylee were home. Do you know when anyone else in the house got home? I don't know when Xana anything got home. I didn't hear them come in or anything. The last time you saw Xana and Ethan was at Sigma Chi. girls catch up with Bethany for a bit, and then they just get ready for bed. Maddie and I took Murphy out to pee, the dog. And then I said I was going to go to bed because I was tired. She said she was going to go to bed too. And then I went to my room. I was getting on to sleep, and then she came, knocked, and asked if I had Murphy. And I said no. She also called her. And then I went to bed. There's so much more to that. Was he a Swedish dog? Was he friendly? Did he bark at anything that moved? He was pretty friendly. He didn't bark often, but he would bark sometimes. I remember Jack said that he's not really a barker, that he's more of like a throat noises, really, is more like what he described. Doggy throat noises, like more like whines and purrs instead of barks. They're showing where their rooms are as a diagram in the house, and they're still blurring Bethany and heard her say she was going to go upstairs. Kaylee and the dog Murphy. It's the part where Dylan's talking to Noon. At the very top, yeah, that's what her room is. And then walking up, I heard a scream, and she ran downstairs because she saw someone. And I'm pretty sure she said someone. She screamed, she went downstairs, and I called her name. I jumped up and locked my door because I was so scared. See, she heard. That's what I don't understand why people are still saying even now. Like it shows this piece in the Netflix documentary of her saying that she heard a scream, and people are still after watching the Netflix series saying, "How come people believe she didn't hear anything?" And I'm like, guys, it's literally in the documentary, the clip where she's saying she heard a scream. She didn't. She heard everything. That's why everyone needs to be paying attention. She heard everything. Ridiculous. And also, she didn't call anybody like she pretended she did. Bethany called Dylan. What she sees shapes her to her core. Yet she tells the police officers in all of her interviews that she really didn't just think it was a big deal. Not a big deal. It was just a guy walking through my house, just nothing. I was worried, but not really all that worried. I just didn't know if it was real or not. Like, oh my God. They need to play her interviews, like her interviews. They need to play her interviews. Like, not her 11-13 boo-boo. They need to play her 11-17. That one's a doozy. That's where she says some real crazy stuff. Especially now that we have some more of the unredacted transcripts. Oh, yeah. She said some interesting shit in the 11-17 video. I opened the door for a second, and I saw this guy, and he was not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black and like this mask that was just covering his forehead and his mouth. They're having a weird reenactment of a girl looking out. They can't even get a house that's actually shaped like the house. Like what they just showed didn't look anything like the inside of that house. It looked like he was leaving, and that's when she saw the mask and everything. Now they're showing the PCA. The PCA. Why are we showing the PCA? This guy walks past Dylan, and she stands there, frozen in shock. I just shut the door and locked it. I didn't know what else to do. And I think he went out like the side door, the sliding door in the kitchen that goes out to the backyard. I think she didn't actually see the person leave. Police at this point are assuming. Terrified, Dylan starts texting and calling everyone in the house, and only Bethany answers. That is not true. Again, if you look at Dylan's phone records, Bethany called Dylan, and then Dylan started calling Xana and Maddie and Kate. She doesn't call anyone at all to check on literally anyone until after Bethany calls her phone. Why are they not being honest about that? It changes the entire tone of what happened. Why are they not being honest? Oh, it drives me nuts. didn't call 911. No, of course not. Not drunkish. She wasn't drinking. Yeah, everyone else had alcohol in their system, but Dylan was not drinking. They were giving them excuses for things that aren't real. They're giving them excuses for things that are not real. That's so crazy. So between 4 and 4:25 a.m., Xana gets a DoorDash at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, but they're not talking about how she ordered it at 2:15. Phone report she was on TikTok at 4:12. We still need to see the analytical data for that because the trial paperwork says 3:16 a.m. And here comes the 11/12 footage talking about 4:17. And here's Bethany. It echoed me. Okay, let me get out. I'm going to leave and come back. Okay, let's see if that fixed anything. Let's see if that fixed anything. In her interview, she said she started calling everyone around 4:20. There's a dog, the dog barking on the camera. Showing the phone calls. Immediately after the bang, which is why they had something about a weapon, like a gun, on the search warrant. CSI is showing up. I'm, I guess, almost halfway. There's 35 minutes left in it. No, I've had to go back and forth. Villager talking to Anjanette Levy. I mean, it looks like the only thing that they did is the same kind of stuff that we do when we're trying to get clips and put stuff together. They have like some people that have nothing at all to do with the case. Like this lady, this New York Post lady, whatever her name is, I don't even know her freaking name. She's like the only new person talking in this. Everything with the police and everything else is like, again, interviews and then like old stuff that's already been out on the news. It's no new stuff at all. They basically just did what we do. All old news clips, old stuff for sure. Press conference, pieces of the house, drone footage, another press conference talking about how they can say there's no threat to the public. This same 11/16 one. Yeah, there's a threat out there still. 103 pieces of individual evidence. I feel like it's more than that. 4,000 photographs. Multiple 3D scans of the residents that we still really haven't seen too much of. Hundreds of hours from forensic team. Yeah, the forensic teams that right now that blood splatter. What a great team you got. And here comes the knife sheet. Partially underneath, yeah, barely touching Maddie, but under Maddie. Now look at that dark blade. Okay, yeah, there's the insignia, there's the blade. I mean, there's the sheath. that knife wasn't from the kitchen, which means it was brought there by the killer. That's not necessarily true at all. Or they just keep showing the same 11, 16 pieces. Okay, now they're showing another piece. Fixed blade. Located. They're still saying it's on the snap. No match in coders. November 22nd. It gets personally delivered to Othram. Yeah, we have all the information from ISP and MPD from those trips down there to take the DNA. Othram is setting the DNA on the knife sheet. Moscow is still looking through surveillance. And immediately one vehicle jumps out. No, it wasn't immediately. You'll have no idea how ridiculous it was for them to even see this vehicle. The same white sedan makes 3 passes around the house. Yeah, because it's the silver surveillance car. That's why. They're showing pictures of the DoorDash bag inside. 359 drop off, 404 sedan enters the area. I don't know why they cut off the timestamp at the top of the camera. So they have the timestamp chopped off to where you can see like the bottom half of all of the numbers, but then they're putting their own font of timestamp over on the other side. Why can't you just show the timestamp? That's absolutely ignorant. If you got it via FOIA, why can't you show the timestamp? Why are you editing it like that? $417, $420 sedan peeling out. That one didn't look like it was hella sped up. The one in the Netflix one looked like they freaking sped it up. So he's talking about 17 minutes. Jesse Weber, 17 minutes. The person who leaked exactly where they were going. Woo! Police take the footage of the white sedan and give it to forensics from the FBI. They say it's likely a 2011 to 2013 Honda Elantra. And then it gets adjusted. Yeah, we know why it got adjusted. But it also was not originally a Honda. It even wasn't originally considered a 4-door vehicle, according to the newest information. It was considered an Audi, possibly, because it's sort of loud. It was also considered a 2-door Nissan at some point. Insane. So now they're saying that Othram Labs completed their work showing that it belonged to an Italian family in Pennsylvania. So then they just said that they cross-referenced that to vehicles. Oh my God, I'd have to go back and see how she said that. What did she just say? Okay, let me see how she said this. I went back. How did she put this? Okay. Luckily, after 18 days, on December 10th, Othram Labs finally completes their work. It determines the DNA on the knife sheath belongs to an Italian-American family in Pennsylvania. The FBI then cross-checks the individuals on this family tree against the 22-something thousand Hyundai Elantras in the Moscow area, and on December 19th, they get a match. What? That is what a pause, biatches. What are you talking about? Did they just come up with that out their butts? What are you talking about? What? They just said that Othram got them all the way to the Italian family in Pennsylvania, and they then took the family in Pennsylvania and cross-referenced that with the vehicles in Moscow. That's what? They've never, ever, 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 ever said anything about the genealogy being cross-referenced to any of the vehicle databases until after the FBI called MPD on the 19th. That is not, no. What? No, I think she's making shit up. Like, you're not, no, you're. Yeah, she's wrong. I don't know where she got that shit from. That's not true. On December 19th, they get a match to a vehicle and identify a vehicle owner, and they call with the name. Yeah, they call with a name, but they never say a word. I'm going to pause again. They never, ever, 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 once, ever have said anything about the FBI cross-referencing a family tree with a vehicle database. Never, not ever, not freaking ever once. Never, 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 never once. Never once. So I don't know where that girl's getting that from. If somebody gave her some documentation or some shit, I don't know where she's getting that. That has never, ever, ever been stated before, ever. Ever. And as far as I'm understanding from the way that Payne and everyone else has described the 20th, they were given a complete family tree breakdown all the way down to where they are claiming to have found Kohberger. They never ever mention a cross-reference to a database. Could they have? Could they have tracked down the family tree and then decided to somehow do a bunch of cross-references? I mean, if his name wasn't anywhere on that family tree, I highly doubt it would have ever found it. Because what we're being told is that none of the names have a K, like have a Kohberger last name. So unless there's a Kohberger last name, I don't see how running a family tree to Hyundais, like the only thing they could really do is cross-reference a Hyundai Elantras that have both been registered in Washington and Pennsylvania in order to get to Kohberger. But he just said that they cross-referenced them to Moscow. Yeah, see, none of that works. None of that works. I'm going to need her to produce something about what she's talking about. I think she's a little off the rocky. She's making some shits up. We're at ads. That's why I'm looking down. Yeah, that was ridiculous. They've never said that before. They've never said anything about cross-referencing anything with any database ever. Yeah, I think they're trying to leave out the IGG thing because we know how they do that. We know that they broke a bunch of the Department of Justice rules and went into databases they weren't supposed to, and they're trying to lie and cover it up, which has been their entire purpose the entire time. But to lie about some cross-reference of a database is crazy. Now, Sheila said within 2 weeks of the murders, they were running down information on Bryan Kohberger. That is not true. The 19th of December is over a month after the murders. So no, ma'am, you're wrong. She's ridiculous. I cannot believe the lies here. This is crazy. This is super crazy. This is super crazy. Okay, so there's Bryan Kohberger and his walking across to get his DeSales diploma thing. And they're making like freeze screens, I guess. So they're talking about, here we go, the stupid survey. Yeah, the survey that was a group project that had 2 other students and a TA as the responders. Okay, so they're showing Whamsland. She quite literally wrote the book on the BTK killer. So, my God. So many students have studied under Ramsland, and it only matters because it's Kohberger. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. He applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department. Yeah, on recommendation. See how they're not being honest about why things were happening? My God. So then it's coming up. Of course, they're going to talk about this in class. It just happened 10 miles away. Police talked to classmates and acquaintances of Bryan that described him as quieter and visibly disheveled the weeks after the murders. Okay. We're not going to be honest about anything in here, obviously. So he grew up in Pennsylvania. He grew up in the Poconos. It's showing some older photos. One of three. He has two sisters. Showing his old high school from Pennsylvania. He was described as being overweight. He was bullied. And sometime between his junior and senior year, he dropped over 100 pounds. And there was a switch in his personality. Suddenly, he became the bully. We heard that from one person. I think it was that Casey girl's brother, the one that he hung out with in his addictive era. She didn't use at the time, but he was at the time. And there's been a bunch of stories that have come out about that. That the family is, they've been honest about his past. But it was her brother was like the only one that came out and never said that about him. So I don't know if there's other stories, but it was just the one that I've ever heard. So now it's showing the Latell County traffic stop. And she's talking about how it just seems normal. He's just asking officer questions. We're not going to be honest about how the cop is a liar here. They're not going to show it. They're really not going to show how the cop. Are they going to show it? He uses the stop to pump the officer for information. They're not showing the fact that the officer admitted that he did not see Kohberger in his seatbelt. They're not showing the fact that he said, I'll admit that I didn't see it, but did you have your seatbelt on or not? And Kohberger's honest and says, no, he didn't have his seatbelt on. Instead of making the context show to people so they can understand why Kohberger's asking this question, they're acting like he's just randomly pumping the officers for information. I hate the mainstream so much. I hate the mainstream so much. 1 month before the murders, he was pulled over a second time, this time for running a red light. Now this is in Pullman. This is where I think it's in front of one of the buildings. And she was behind him in the intersection situation. Again, he's peppering the officers with questions. It's so crazy. Where he's talking to the officer about the situation. What date was this? 10/14/22. I mean, it looks like he's pretty much keeping eye contact with her the whole time he's talking to her. And then she starts talking and he sort of looks away to listen. It looks like when he's talking, he's looking at her, but whenever she's talking, he sort of looks away to listen. So it's back to the house. And they're talking about how at this point there's no suspect yet. Oh my God, several key points that connect him. So him living in Pullman is a connection point. His house, his car matches the car on the camera. And then they say the sheath DNA matches DNA at his parents' house. That's a really strange way to put that. So now they're talking about they need something else besides that. And it shows on the night of the murders, his phone is sort of on radar at 2:42. Oh, they have the old information in here about how at 2:47 the phone is no longer on the network. So they don't even have their timeline corrected for the 7-minute correction. Unbelievable. So they have the information in here about the PCR, but they don't have the information here about the 7 minutes. That happened in court like a year ago, over a year ago. Way more than a year ago. Unbelievable. How freaking lazy. All right, so then they have Costco and Albertson's footage of him going in and out. No gloves on his hands, just walking around. He doesn't seem anxious or disheveled at all. But they just said that he's all disheveled and blah, blah, blah after the fact. Okay, so, oh my God, I just had to have an argument with some dumb shit about this on TikTok about how the DMV lady came out and already like did an interview on YouTube and explained that Kohberger came in before to change his plate, and somebody there, learning he's a college student, said for him to come back closer to the 90-day mark so that it was cheaper for the taxes. And this person started arguing with me. The DMV, nobody at work at the DMV is ever going to tell anybody that. I don't give a holy hot damn about your experience, Mr. Sir, ma'am, whoever the hell you think you are. That's what the hell the woman who actually did this this whole transaction with him freaking said. So no one cares about your bullshit. That's the truth, and that's what happened. And people are just not giving a shit about none of it. They're out here talking about the plate change, not knowing any of the facts, not knowing any of the truth, making it seem as if it's something sketchy because they're too freaking lazy to do their actual research. It's so pathetic. I'm arguing with all kinds of dumb shits over there. Okay, so now they have him traveling from Pullman down to Colorado and then back up to Pennsylvania. They're showing the 12:15 traffic stops in Indiana and Michael in the passenger seat. Kohberger's father came out to Washington on a pre-planned trip that they were going to drive the car back for the holidays. On the way to go get some Thai food. Well, we're coming from WSU. Yeah, we've seen these. He gets pulled over twice. Nine minutes later, they're pulled over again. Different police department this time. Now we're at an ad. State Farm ads are crazy. I know ludicrous makes stuff. Maybe you don't need to be in these damn commercials. I'm just saying. I hate these stupid medication commercials. They shouldn't be able to market medication to you like you can go buy it off of a shelf. If you have a certain medical condition and you're talking to your doctor, the doctor is going to know what medications are out there for you to choose from. Like, I don't understand why they still do this. I thought we were going to stop these stupid ads. I hate them so much. I hate these so much. God, yes. If you take this, you're going to die. But take it anyway. It might help you. I hate these ads. Oh my God. Hurry up. 15 seconds of hell still. I hate these ads so much. You done? Are we done yet? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're back to the second traffic. My God! I need to get some actual good sleep tonight. Okay, yeah, this is the second one where he's getting pulled over again. Let off a second time with a verbal warning. Back to the house. Oh no, this is his parents' house. December 16th, they get there. Within a week, police are surveilling the place around the clock. It was before that, though. Like, I know they called the FBI. I mean, I know they called MPD on the 19th. That's a lie. Oh my God, I'm on a pause it. She's lying. Oh my God, she's lying. I know the FBI didn't give Moscow his name until the 19th, but we have paperwork that says, and the way that, and I could be misinterpreting the way that it's read. I don't really know because we only know what it says, and this is what it says. It says that law enforcement observed Kohberger going in and out of a CVS in Pennsylvania on the 16th. So We also had a report that came out early that the FBI was taking responsibility for the pullovers in Indiana, or at least one of the pullovers in Indiana. But then there was also a rumor that they lost Kohberger for a certain amount of time. And so because they lost him, they like pulled back their responsibility, and suddenly like that article just like straight up disappeared from the internet. So people just are like, you know, they have just their assumptions at this point. I feel like they had something to do with the pullovers. At that point, they'd had the stuff from Othram for about 5 days. And if they're a big high-tech lab and they're breaking all these laws, 5 days, they better have something or whatever the hell they're looking for, you know? So I figured that they probably did have something to do with the pullovers, and they probably did actually watch him walk in and out of a CVS on the 16th. So when they say, oh, it was closer to, you know, Christmas time, maybe they hardcore that time, but before that, they definitely, in my opinion, were watching him. Now, what this crazy woman just said, and I'm going to press play again, it says I have 20 minutes left, is that he was seen once he got there. Every time he would leave the house, he had surgical gloves on. Who actually has ever said that? No one has ever actually said that. Every single time he left, none of the cops have ever said that. Every time he leaves, he's wearing rubber surgical gloves. They witness him cleaning his white Hyundai Elantra top to bottom. The thing is filthy. It's filthy when the police pick it up. It's filthy when they get pulled over. The damn thing is filthy. It's got trash in it. It's got gum wrappers in it. It's got dirty water bottles in it. It's got Band-Aids in it. It's not clean. It's not clean. So here comes him pulling the trash and saying that, well, why are they showing an old ass dark leather knife sheath? That's weird. So then you're saying, okay, so this is confirming that Michael Kohberger is the father of the killer, basically. It's enough to make an arrest so that they start getting everything together. December 30th is when they break the news of the arrest. Yeah, that was a crazy day. All of the different news reports talking about the suspect being arrested. Now they're showing the leak footage of him in the jail. How are they allowed to show the leak footage? That's so crazy. You know, that person never got in trouble. They quit working for the jail before it leaked, and so they never got in trouble for being the leaker. Isn't that wild? Now, why in the world are they showing the stock photos from the Bolo and not the photos of his car when they're talking about taking the car? Here is the court appearance in Pennsylvania for extradition. This is where he's going to waive extradition so that he can hurry up and get back to Idaho. His hands are red there. His hands look pretty. His hands are really red and Laetol on the 5th. Okay, so here's the footage of Operation Turtle Shell. Or is it Operation Turtle or Operation Turtle Shell? It's one of the two. They were moving him over. Okay, so here's, I think, his first appearance with Ann Taylor. No plea. This is where Ann Taylor puts it in for him. Footage of his apartment. Investigators go to the apartment to do searching at the apartment, and they find kind of nothing. It was pretty much stripped bare. Oh my God. Okay, thousands of dollars worth of electronics, and all of his furniture and all kinds of clothes. He literally had a whole refrigerator full of food, all kind of what are you talking about stripped bare? They discovered that he was within 100 yards of 1122 23 times. That's a lie. We know that's a freaking lie. Was he stalking them? Nope. Did he want to attack earlier? Nope. The amount of planning, you mean none, because the 404B evidence that was admitted, it has to show planning, and they didn't say that it was for planning, so there was none. May 22nd, 2023. Where are they showing this date? Okay, so this is a hearing, showing a hearing. He's still wearing a suit. Here comes Jay Logsden. Here comes Kohberger. Okay, so now we have, okay, so it's going back and forth between suit, orange, suit, orange, suit, orange. Here come the Barnharts. For any telling digital fingerprints, they find nothing. They talk about constantly how they absolutely have nothing. By the way, we also have our own information from Celebrite that they sent over to us. It's in the Google Share Drive. what had clearly been erased, which is also a lie because the eraser program was done by somebody after the laptop was taken into custody. The Barnharts themselves have already stated that. He turned off his Wi-Fi. Okay. He set up his device to be minimally collecting data. It links to his behavior leading up to the crime. He turned off Wi-Fi 2 days prior to the murder. He powered off his phone. It was a 100% battery. We were going to testify. Okay, so they just said he did that 2 days beforehand. So they think that it was prep. Okay, well, I need to see the proof of that because Ray never said that. Ray has only said there was one power event that was on the report. He never ever said that he was out here doing trial runs of turning off his phone. Ray never said that. And they've never produced any proof of that either. They really need to do that. So they're talking about Snake River, which I don't know why, because the drive test data, you can't get to the parts where Ray was talking about. We don't see a person that filled his time. There's not a friend that gets consistent messages. His communication with his parents is working. Mother and father, and she's smiling, looking like a damn alien, making fun of the way that he talks to his parents, while she's over there looking like Paul's twin sister. Don't need to be quiet. Okay, so here comes some search history stuff. I don't know why they're choosing to show this weird blurry photo. He looked up a lot of home invasions, burglaries, serial killers. There was one search, Danny Rawling, the Gainesville Ripper. He's a co-ed. Yeah, that's what his classes were about. As Jared dug into the phone, there's even more. And they show the screenshot of all the YouTube videos that they say that Kohberger watched. What they're not being honest here about is the fact that on that screenshot, if you look at the very, very top corner, it shows that there's 5 filters activated. So we don't know what else he was looking at that might be completely harmless. And there might be true crime videos in between all of his searches because they have 5 filters activated in this screenshot. They're showing the exact same information that we have in the Google Drive. I haven't seen anything new from them so far. Yeah, lying by omission. That's exactly what they're doing. Okay, so there's like 15 seconds left of this stupid ad. Yeah, this is just insane. I can't believe all of the stupid inconsistencies. You can put in the PCR, but you can't put in the correct timeline for things. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, so more selfies, talking about Christmas now. Late at night and into the morning of the 26th, he was working through serial killers. The site was about serial killer timelines. And it basically just has this list of a bunch of serial killers. He was clicking one, scanning, reading on YouTube. Reading on YouTube? What are you talking about, scanning and reading on YouTube? The consistent nature of the searches were non-consensual sex acts. There was like 2. And he was also doing what? I'm going to pause it. He was also studying what? What did we just learn from Miss Liarface? That they were in constant arguments about how burglars and sexual burglaries, like meaning people that break into houses in order to commit a sexual act, okay? Sexually violent burglars and regular old schmegulars, I'm going to steal some jewelry burglars, okay? How those are 2 completely different things. This was literally part of his studies because he was studying sexual violence. None of this is odd if you know the damn classes he was taking and the assignments that he had. And if he's not looking up something to touch himself to every freaking day, and it's only 2 or 3 searches because he's got an assignment, how can you possibly use that against him? Again, knowing that at the time that all this was going on, he was literally taking a class on sexual violence. We just listened to his professor yesterday. Context here matters so much, it's not even funny. And the fact that they refuse to allow any of it is disgusting. It really is just gross how they don't even bother. They just don't bother at all. This is literally his field of study in this semester. Only that, not one other thing was a sex act. It was all like this. Or sleeping. Well, see, that's the opposite. Ray said there was no sleeping, there was no drug. They were all conscious and aware, but it was violent. So which one is it? Which one is it? Why do we have two different people looking at stuff and giving us two different answers? Okay, so here's the selfie. They're showing the real one. Now they're focusing in on his knuckles, and now his knuckles are so white and then red in between. He said, it reminds me of scrubbing your hands for days to get something off. And it's showing the small little bitty Band-Aid on his finger right here. His hands are scrubbed daily 3 dozen times. He's going to have red raw skin. I've said this before. My mother is a beautician. Pause this. My mother is a beautician, and my entire life in the wintertime, especially, I have done nothing but watch her hands bleed and crack for 3 months in a row. Because her hands are in water 1,000 times a day, washing people's hair, wetting her hands with different products. So in the wintertime, her cuticles would get these ginormous chunks in them and would peel back, and her fingers would bleed. Her skin would bleed. She would not use lotion. This is my entire life. I watched her hands do this. So when I'm hearing about how much he washes his hands, seeing that there might be some cracked skin and maybe a little bit of bleeding, seeing how red his skin is, I've seen that my entire life. His hands look like my mother's hands in the wintertime as a beautician who washes hair all day. They're not talking about his OCDs. They're not talking about the fact that he washes his hands so much. Why are they not mentioning any of that when they're talking about these things? That's crazy to me. Context matters. And they said that this thumbs up picture was about his top button because of his dexterity issues. Doing stuff with his hands like that has always been difficult. So they're showing the hoodie, black hoodie, which you would do a selfie. It says he read something on the internet about there being a car that's being looked for, and it says that he starts looking for used cars after looking for whatever car was being looked for. That shit don't even make any damn sense. Wow, they're using that edited photo of him in court where his eyes are like big and wide and white. Weird shit. So it's Annie Elise, and she's saying that Kohberger's alibi is bullshit because he wasn't out looking at the moon and the stars. Okay, so now it's back to the house. It says, we know Xana was awake. They think that Xana heard Murphy barking, so she came out of her bedroom to see what was going on. We know how intense the struggle was. It was apparent by all of the defense wounds. Ultimately, she collapsed in the doorway of her bedroom. She was not in the doorway for one. And there's no blood in between of Xana's. So I don't know why they keep needing it to be Xana that gets attacked on the second floor outside of her bedroom. It's very strange. There's no proof of that. None. And just weeks before the trial, bombshell. Damn straight it was. I was so like lost that day. I didn't know what the hell was happening. I was so blown away by that damn plea. I never thought that was where we were going to go. I never thought it was going to go there ever. Even if he had wanted to, I didn't think the state was going to even let it happen. I definitely didn't think that Hitler was going to allow it to happen. And you know, it's interesting. Right here, they're showing the very ending of the sentencing where Ann Taylor puts her hand on Bryan's arm. It's like right at the end, right before the cameras like turn off. And he sort of like looks off to the side and she puts her hand on his shoulder. It's really interesting that they showed that as long as they just did after what we just heard from Ray. Because even with him talking all that shit that he's talking, according to him, Ann Taylor still very much believes that Kohberger is innocent, and she has a very motherly, protective relationship with him. So that's pretty telling. So here comes Judge Hippler and his speech that he gave at the end of the sentencing. See, that's where they played it up right there. Even if I can make him speak, which I cannot, who's going to ever be able to know if what he's saying is the truth? See how they set it up right there at the sentencing for Bill Thompson to be able to say 20 minutes later at the question and answer session, oh well, you can't believe anything he's going to say, so we just don't even bother asking. They set it up right then and there in that pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. Here's Steve in his cross hat. Have we offered a plea deal? No. He can be fired at, or he can take a shot. Those are the two options. And yeah, that was right before the plea. So here comes the plea. Is this the plea change when Steve stays outside? This might be the one. Or is this the sentencing? I don't remember which one this was. Is this the sentencing where Stephen Jr. talks? Yeah, I think this is the sentencing. Yeah, this is after. Remember, for the plea change, Steve protested not going into the courthouse. This is where Steve Jr. talked, and I was like, why didn't he talk inside? This was like a true impact statement. When he came out and was like, they didn't give a shit, basically, and Kaylee was treated just like any other case, like it didn't even matter to them. That's an impact statement. I don't know why he didn't get up and give that speech inside the courtroom. It would have been perfect for inside the courtroom. I don't know why he didn't do it. He should have. He really should have. Showing Ben and Maddie. I hope he's doing okay. Okay, so it's showing pictures of all of them. Social media response divided and just as passionate as it's been the whole time. Undoubtedly, the most heartbreaking part are the impact statements. Some of them were very sad, and some of them were really ridiculous. There's Jasmine. Jasmine was the first off-campus family member to get to the scene. Jeff showed up right after her. Hunter, Chapin, and Maisie, of course, were already on campus, but she came over from Pullman. She was the very first family member at the scene. Maddie's grandma. Christy. Where she wished, prison rape on him. And then Olivia called him a pedophile. It's amazing how much class everyone else had, and then these people take the stand. Everyone else had pure class and did the right thing. And the ones that are aggressive and nasty are the ones that get the most praise here, I find. So many people talk about Olivia's speech. It's just odd. I mean, especially if you just know more about them, especially her. I mean, this is also after she has like a DV situation where she's the aggressor and all that shit, like on her background now. She has the nerve to walk into the courtroom and talk like that. And then there's Steve and his dramatics turning the podium. The whole community thing that Steve keeps talking about is just really strange to me, and I don't like it. I don't like how they keep talking about how, oh, Kaylee would have been such a great citizen for our country. Like, who talks like that about their kid? That's just odd to be like, that's what you're focusing on. Oh, she would have been such a great citizen. Probably, but why is that how you're marketing her? Like, that's weird. Very freaking strange. Right, we have 10 seconds left to an ad. We should be almost done. Should be almost done here. Okay, the ad's over now. No, it's not. It's a whole nother ad. Oh my god. Okay, we've got one more after this too. I wasn't paying attention. We don't have much longer for this. Now, when I get off with this, I'm gonna go back and screen record it, and then eventually I'll be able to. What I'm really hoping is be able to get like the bullshit out of it and just like stuff left in it and put like a version of it out there somewhere. I just don't know if they're gonna come at me all crazy like they normally do. Okay, come on, let's get to this. All right, commercial's over. Here we go. Okay, full picture of everyone minus Bethany and Dylan. Jesse, it's a Toyota Weber and is now talking. There's an overwhelming feeling of closure for who? For who? That's crazy. So many names that like got up at the questioning thing after the sentencing. Oh my god, he called her Kernodle. God. Pictures of Kara crying, Ben crying. Yeah, these names that said all the attaboys and shit afterwards aren't on any of the reports. I don't know who any of these men are at all. And again, it's just old clips from old interviews from right afterwards. There's not a single police officer or official in this case that wanted to work with the ID channel. Jesse Weber, the New York Post chick, and like that one other person in the very beginning that was like, I guess a friend of somebody's. I don't know who the hell. Oh my god. Oh my god. These people are so stupid. I paused it. These people are dumb. They have a picture. They have a piece of Brett Payne. Brett, Mr. Clean wannabe Payne, talking at the Q&A after the fact. And these dumb idiots have him labeled as Raul Labrador, the Attorney General of Idaho. So Brett Payne is now the Attorney General of Idaho. This is how stupid the ID channel is. This is how stupid the ID channel is. Here comes Bill Thompson. I have to be perfectly candid. I don't think anything that comes out of his mouth will be true. Well, y'all didn't even bother, said that yourself. Chief Dollinger being so blown away and proud of everyone. House getting torn down. House getting torn down. Why are they showing that now like it got torn down after the plea? That's a false perception. They just now showed that after the fact. Why are they lying? Now, while it's not like an outright lie, the fact that they're showing it happening after the plea happened will give anyone who's coming into this case a false perception that the crime scene was kept up until the plea, and that's not true. So now we're showing pieces from the church. Showing Jake. Or Johnson. And then pieces of just photos from the house, from press conferences, from officers standing safety at the slider. This is a horribly done documentary episode. This was horribly done. It's just doing like it's even after an arrest, a guilty plea, and a life sentence. The major question still haunts this case. Is this one? Why? Just shouldn't be about Bryan Kohberger. It should be about the 4 lives that were lost that night. Well, at this point, it has to be about all of them because we don't know what the hell happened. Plain and simple. We don't know what the hell's going on at all. Let's quit pretending. Most murders are committed by somebody who knows the victim. Not here. What happened here is something far rarer. Jesse Weber. They weren't targeted because of something they were done. They didn't know and they put themselves in danger in any way. They were simply at home. We don't really know the truth of anything. We're learning a lot of really interesting things, that's for sure. We're learning a lot of interesting things. Kohberger had a period of time in which he could go to the court and change his mind, and now he wants to withdraw his plea and go to trial, and I'm not surprised in the very least. I'm saying for a long time that I could feel it in my bones that this was not the last that we would hear of Bryan Kohberger. That's coming from Anjanette Levy. Now here comes the Goncalves' statement calling him a mosquito. They're showing more crime scene photos. I don't know why they're showing the kitchen window. That's been proven to be irrelevant to this. There's a fear that's almost impossible to dismiss, that there's no mistake to learn from, that there is no simple way to reassure ourselves that this can never happen to us. Well, it doesn't help, Mr. Johnny Bravo, that you don't really know a lot of anything. I think the focus should now be on the kids and the lives that were lost. Yes, let's focus on the people's stories that have been hidden from us the entire time. Let's not focus on trying to actually get their true truth out about what happened. Let's focus on what the mainstream people want us to believe about them and not what's actually going on and not anything that's actually truthful. That's what Anjanette Levy wants you to do. She wants you to focus on the college kids that weren't doing drugs and weren't doing anything crazy and that might not have some other little connections to things that might actually answer some questions, and just focus on the pictures and all the cutesy stuff that you hear about, and don't ask any questions about court. Ignore the fact that Bryan is now trying to take back his guilty plea. Just ignore everything and focus on the cutesy story that me and Jeanette, being the mainstream talking head here, that I fed you. Just focus on that story and don't ask any questions. Not a single official person that actually worked this case or that was associated with the Idaho State Police, with the Moscow Police Department, or with the FBI was in this documentary whatsoever. It was nothing but a bunch of news heads. Tells you a lot. If the ID channel can't get a single police officer to work with them on their little documentary, then how official can they possibly be? I find that a bit ridiculous. I find that a bit ridiculous. Absolutely insane. Oh my God. All right, guys. There's really not a lot to talk about. I'm going to end up going back through, I guess, my, well, not my reactions, really. I don't want to listen to myself talk all over again. But I'm going to end up going back through these episodes and just getting like the top 5 mistakes, I guess, and just doing like quick breakdown rundowns so that I can get that stuff out too. But yeah, there's same old inconsistencies. Thank you for the $4.99, Kim. Didn't Jack stay with the G's after the crime? What about Murphy? Seems like they would want any piece of her close. Not that I know of. Well, that's not true, I guess. They did make statements that he like spent the night on the couch a lot. But I don't know like for how long or for how often. But yeah, it's interesting that Ava said that, because it seems like Kaylee would have had to have said that to her for her to say something that specific. Her parents didn't want her to go back home because the dog was too hyper. Yeah, that was interesting. Let me see if I can pull that part up real quick on Connor's thing and just play that portion of it. Let's see if it has some transcripts. Usually it takes a couple hours after it gets on for there to be transcripts. Oh, it looks like there might be. Hold on. Hyper is the word right here. Okay. Okay, so listen to this real quick. I'm just going to play where she says it.
I do remember regarding family. I remember yesterday you told, I believe it was you that told me that her mom wouldn't let her come home because of her hyper dog. Is that right?
I don't recall. I never said that information to you. But
see, I never said that information to you, but meaning that was said to someone, and I didn't say it to you directly, but that is true, and now I'm going to elaborate. So that's interesting. This also means, again, that she was interviewed on the 7th. Because this isn't the first time that he talks about the fact that she was talked to right before that. That's not the first time that he mentions that. So that's interesting too. So I wonder who she said that to that then relayed that to him. I guess maybe it was another officer or maybe somebody else that she spoke with. But yeah, sure is interesting. So I don't know. We'll probably go over Ava's tomorrow night, maybe. Tomorrow night, maybe. I don't know. There's so many interviews that we've got to catch up on. There's like so many. But it is the weekend, so hopefully we can get through a bunch of them. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Holy shit. I might even put off my UFO thing on Sunday just to try to get through a bunch of stuff. I don't know, maybe not. I don't really want to skip that. So probably not. Which just also sucks too, because y'all know how I really like to trash out the Gypsy Rose. Well, there's some doozy jail calls getting released. So I'd really like to take some time and listen to some Gypsy Rose phone calls from jail. Holy shiitakes. If you want to take a break and laugh and feel good about yourself, please go listen to some Gypsy Rose jail calls. Oh my God. It's been crazy. So what we'll probably do, actually, because I really want to listen to some of those, and I need an Idaho break, okay? So F everything I just said before. I'm going to do my UFO thing on Sunday, and then we'll do an Idaho live, I guess, maybe like in the middle of the day, going over one of the interviews. But then I want to listen to some damn Gypsy Rose phone calls on Sunday night. I need to laugh. And I need to laugh at Gypsy Rose. So that's what I think we're going to do. It's some crazy stuff. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look, I listened to one today, and if it doesn't show you a shining example of the way that this biatch is such a big ass manipulator, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to make sure that's like the first one that we listen to, because if you have no clue who Gypsy Rose is, or if you have no clue why we hate her so much, the personality that you're going to get from her in this one call is going to be all that you're going to need to understand why. And it's also going to make you question how the hell Ken got back with her after hearing this phone call. Because what the fuck? Oh my God. It is so bad. Oh my God, it's so bad. It is so bad. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. And I'm going to go try to do whatever. It's Friday, so I'll end up watching some movie. We'll probably find a movie to rent or something on Amazon. I don't know. Oh my God. These past 2 weeks went by so quick, but holy shit, there's been so much. Oh my God. Well, thank you for joining. Glad to be here. Thank you for being a member for so long, Lorena. How are you doing? How you doing? Hey there, Miss Lindy J. 31 months is such a long time. It's pretty much like from almost the beginning. That's so crazy that you've been here for so long. And thank you for the gems, you guys. I appreciate you coming in here and listening to me react to this thing in real life. Again, I will put out something shorter of a little breakdown of just like the top 5 bullshits and all of these, I guess, just to break them down. I mean, that's the only thing I can do. It's not going to reach a lot of people, but it might reach enough. That's the only thing I can do. Best I can to try to debunk the bullshit and try to keep stuff as factual as possible. And they're going to fight me every step of the way, but that's fine. It's totally fine. All right, you guys have a super great night. If you're going out, be safe, be careful. Get home in one piece. Try to get some sleep. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. See y'all.